One of the most popular methods of travel in Europe is to book a holiday package, which includes hotel and transportation. So in an effort to see as much of Europe as possible, I've decided to book just such a trip, traveling from Czestochowa to the Greek coast. The first leg of my journey will take me through the charming countryside of Poland and Slovakia. In Czestochowa, Poland right now, and I'm going to be traveling by bus to Greece. It's a 25-hour trip, and we're going to be crossing through the 5 countries. So this bus is going to be my home for the next 25 hours. Tourism to Greece has kind of slowed down right now because of the recent political protests that have been going on, so you can find really cheap deals right now. Well, here's the freeway. Most freeways in Europe, you actually have to pay a toll, and it's really expensive, so I'm just glad that I'm not the one who has to pay. You can see that the freeways here aren't as crowded as they are in some other places. That's because most people avoid taking the freeways so they won't have to pay the toll. We're driving through Kraków.
Co się stało? Nie czujesz? Mój portfel. Jest. Pusty. Urażający. Tak. Nie mogę. Proszę o udzielenie głosu. A co to Rosjan? Jesteście żołnierzami, ale nikt z was nie.
That building right there is the Basilica of St. Michael the Archangel. It's a Pauline monastery that was constructed in the late 15th century on the site where the Bishop of Kraków was executed in 1079. That beautiful building we see up there is the Camaldolese Hermit Monastery, built in the early 1600s. We've just crossed the border into Slovakia. Finally. I didn't think we were ever gonna get out of Poland. We just crossed the border, and this is already our second stop in Slovakia, and we just crossed the border, so at this rate we're never gonna get to Greece. Well, that beautiful structure we see up there is the Orava Castle, one of the most beautiful castles in Slovakia. It was built in the 13th century and stands on the site of an old wooden fortification. In 1800, an enormous fire destroyed all the wooden parts, which were reconstructed in 1861. The castle was also used as a filming location for the 1922 film Nosferatu. And right below the castle is the Orava River. Right down there is a small village of Valašská Dubova, typical Slovakian village, beautifully nestled in the small mountain valley. We've stopped at this restaurant, and from here it's only about 30 more kilometers to the Hungarian border. So we're about a quarter of the way there. We should be in Greece at about 2 p.m. tomorrow. Well, that was pretty cool. The drivers stopped and let us have dinner at this traditional hotel and restaurant. We had a delicious chicken fried steak, but I don't think I've ever seen such rude service in my life. The waitress seemed like she did not want to be there at all. Having already traveled through Slovakia a little bit, I have to say that this country sadly isn't known for its hospitality. From Shahid we traveled through the night across Hungary and the Serbian border before arriving in Belgrade the next morning. We just crossed the border into Hungary. We're somewhere in the middle of Hungary right now. I have no idea where. It's the middle of the night and I decided to get off the bus to set foot on Hungarian soil, and I almost got run over by a Hungarian car. Although it's not the most scenic country in Europe, I still would have preferred to drive through it during the day, but whatever. It is what it is. At least it's another country off my list. We've arrived at the Serbian border, so only 2 more countries to go. Serbia isn't part of the Schengen agreement like the other countries we passed through, so we have to wait at the border and possibly have our passports checked. Serbia really needs to join Schengen. We've been here for over 2 hours. This is ridiculous. We finally made it past the Serbian border control after over 3 hours of waiting, and we've stopped at this gas station. Well, I woke up this morning expecting to find beautiful mountains. Instead, I woke up to this. I don't think we're in Serbia. We must have turned around and went back to Hungary. We're driving through Belgrade, the capital of Serbia. Formerly the capital of Yugoslavia. The mighty Danube. Somewhere in Serbia right now, maybe about 10 miles outside of Belgrade. All of you have this notion that Muslim migration to Europe is only a recent phenomenon, but actually Muslims have been living in the Balkans for centuries. Serbia, however, is still predominantly Christian, so these are most likely some tourists from Bosnia. But it just goes to show how culturally diverse this continent is. Myślałem, że się będą modlić, a oni piknik sobie robią. I thought they were gonna pray, but they're just having a picnic. Oh, what a disappointment. From Belgrade, I continue south through the Serbian countryside to the small village of Predejane. We're still driving through Serbia. I've been waiting to get into those mountains, but we haven't yet, so maybe finally we will now. tu jest ładnie. O dobrze, bo tu jest ładnie. Co, nie stanął? Oh, we're still traveling through Serbia, and almost all the houses I've seen have these red roofs, so I don't know what's up with that. Excellent example of a typical Serbian village. These are red-tiled roofs and porcelain walls. I'm glad he stopped me. From Platamonas, I continue south to the Macedonian border before stopping near the town of Veles. Oh, this is the kind of terrain I wanted to drive through. Limestone cliffs. It's beautiful. It's just getting better and better. Tak to fajnie. We're driving through the town of Vladičin-Han, and that building right there is the Church of St. Lazarus, built in the 1930s. A to wy na moski mówicie meszet, bo u nas meczet jest takie, co się przez dżunglę przecina.
Aha, meczeta.
We finally arrived at the Macedonian border. Like Serbia, Macedonia isn't part of Schengen, so the border patrol is still active here. At least there's not a long line here like there was at the Serbian border, so I don't think we're going to be here very long. Driving through the Psenia River Gorge. Over there in the distance we can see the town of Veles, and despite its picturesque setting, its 50% unemployment rate means the town, which was once the largest producer of porcelain in Yugoslavia, has now become a hub for illegal activity. In 2016, the town earned a reputation for being the largest exporter of fake news in the world, after it was discovered that a group of local teens were profiting by publishing hundreds of fake news stories that favored then U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump. Oh, we've stopped at this rest stop in Macedonia. We're supposed to be in Greece already, but we're a little behind schedule because we made too many stops in Poland and also the Serbian border, so I don't know when we're gonna be there exactly. But this is a beautiful country, so I don't mind staying here a little longer. This landscape actually reminds me a lot of my hometown of Oroville. Very similar. We also have prairie and hills like this. It's also been cold this entire time, and here it got surprisingly warm.
From Veles, it's just another 60 miles to the Greek border. From there, it's still another hour and a half to my final destination.
Do przodu. Godzinę.
Over there in the distance we can see the town of Demirkapia and its Orthodox church that was built in 1937.
Macedonia has the same type of house as Serbia. We've just entered the Demirkapia Gorge. This area actually has the highest recorded temperatures in Macedonia. This spectacular gorge was formed by the Vardar River. It actually ends near the Greek border, so that means we're almost there.
This has been by far the most scenic leg of the journey so far. Macedonia is dotted with Orthodox churches, and this one was actually built as a memorial to massacred Bulgarians. Some 1,400 of whom, including babies, were killed by Yugoslavian communists around Christmas time in 1945. And we're just a few miles from the Greek border.
Finally, after hours of traveling, we've finally arrived at the Greek border.
That had to be the easiest border crossing I've ever had. They didn't even check my passport. They asked for all the Polish passports, but they didn't ask for mine, so I guess I'm special.
Over there you can see the Aegean Sea. Or that mountain over there is Mount Olympus, the highest mountain in Greece. And I just found out that the Greeks are striking against the freeway toll, so you don't have to pay to use the highway. So I think I'm gonna like this place and its people. Finally, after 5 countries and 32 hours, we finally arrived at our destination, Platamonas.